right, welcome to Marketing Automation Talk, the podcast made to help you convert more and convert faster, where we feature some of the biggest names in marketing automation, learn from the best on how to grow your business with your host, Lior Weinstein, and his guest. And Lior, can you believe it? We finally made it to the studio with the inaugural episode.
You know what? I can.
I know, right?
It's been too long.
It was just a matter of time, yeah. So we're very excited for this inaugural show in the Pro Business Channel studios here in Atlanta. If you're listening, we have our $1 million Buckhead view. But so talk to us, Lior, about the mission, what you want to accomplish, what listeners might expect as far as takeaways.
Yeah. So I've been a digital marketer for many years, over 12 years now. And I heard on a talk recently that there are already over like 1,300 or 1,500 marketing automation products and services, which I was kind of taken aback by it because I've been using these tools for years, but didn't realize it was that prolific. So I figured, you know what, it's so hard to make heads or tails out of it, and you never know what tools to use and even how to use it, right? Right now, you just Google marketing anything, and it seems like a new startup is on Product Hunt every Tuesday and Wednesday. So I figured, let's do a podcast. Let's bring some people in to talk about what they do and how they do it and how does it help customers so marketers can use it better.
I like that name, Marketing Anything. I might buy that domain name, yeah.
Well, trademark. It's trademark right now.
All right now.
We have a recording.
Okay.
And witnesses.
Yeah, and speaking of witnesses, so if you wouldn't mind welcoming your guest to the studio and to the show.
Absolutely. Welcome. Let's start with Joe Reger from Springbot. How you doing?
Pretty good. It's great to be here.
Thank you. Fantastic. And Maddie Richardson.
Hello.
From Marketwake. Maddie, tell us just a little bit about what you're going to talk about today. We're going to interview you soon, but just so they can...
Sure, yeah. So Marketwake is a digital marketing agency right here in Atlanta. And so today I'll kind of be taking that side and approaching automation from a services aspect and the services that we build around automation. Like you said, there's a lot out there. So what you do with it.
Terrific. Mm-hmm. And last but not least, Rachel Orston from IBM. How you doing, Rachel?
Hello. Good to be here.
Thank you. So what are you going to talk about today, just briefly?
I'm going to talk about Watson and cognitive specifically. You know, a lot of people have been hearing about that. Hopefully folks have seen some of the IBM commercials that are out there. But I think a lot of people don't really understand really what Watson's doing more pragmatically in the marketing space and some things that are going on that I hope will interest some folks.
Yeah, well, it is a very small startup, so.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Joe, let's start with you. Funny enough, so we met 3 years ago. Maybe even more than 3 now. And I was at a local Atlanta startup called VCon, and Springbot and VCon were in the same accelerator together, Flashpoint. Yeah. So I actually got to see Springbot from like 2 people to, I don't know how big you are right now. How big you are right now?
We're right around 70 people right now.
70 people. Jeez, I missed the boat on that, right? So, Joe, startup guy, entrepreneur, passionate for predictive analytics and machine learning algorithms. Tell us a little bit about Springbot. How long have you been in business?
As you mentioned, probably three and a half years ago, we, myself, Brooks Robinson, and Alan Nance got together. I was dealing with some big data challenges in some of my projects, and they were dealing with some e-commerce and marketing challenges, and we decided that there was something there. And the something there was that we realized that small businesses had access to a ton of data, but they weren't really leveraging it to the best of their abilities. And we realized that we could jump in, apply some of these awesome algorithms that are so exciting, and help them grow. So that's where we went through the Flashpoint program, started to learn a little bit more about our market, about our customers, about how the data could really help them grow. That helped us attract some early funding. We used that to build out the version 1 product, take it to market, learn a little about what worked to help people grow. Raised a Series A to grow out the sales team, and we've continued to grow from there.
That's fantastic. I love that product. I actually recommend it all the time whenever I just recently saw that you also support Shopify now.
We do. Our second big ecosystem we moved into. So first was Magento.
Yep.
And Shopify was a natural second.
Wow, terrific. So tell us a little bit about what does it do? How does it work?
So the core challenge, if you're a small business e-commerce marketer, is that you're a very brave individual, right? So you've probably quit a job, and you've embarked on this journey to go sell pens or pencils or leather notebook covers or jeans or something that you know very well and are very passionate about. And you start to grow. It moves from a hobby project to a real business. You get a warehouse. You hire your first members of the team. And then you realize that there's a bit of a plateau. And people tell you need to engage in marketing activities. And kind of like you with marketing automation, you hop online, you do some searching for e-commerce marketing, and you find thousands of concepts and ideas. And these are all very well-meaning people who are trying to help you grow and help you use marketing. But the inherent effect that it has on you as a small business owner is that it tends to paralyze you. And the reason is you do a lot of things, but you don't understand what works and what doesn't. And so what Springbot does, one of the core things that we do, is we step in and we show you for each marketing action what was the actual effect. In other words, how many sales did you get? How many add to carts? How many new site visitors did you get? And that information is inherently liberating, because now you know I can do more of the stuff that works and less of the stuff that doesn't work. And that gets our customers, on average, about a 63% growth over the first 3 months of using Springbot.
Wow,
which is quite
that's
a great
amazing.
return. And it really, for us, it highlights how paralyzed a lot of folks are when it comes to using social and email and segmented data and personalization and all these great tools that are out there. This paralysis is inherently troubling.
Yeah. Wow. Terrific. So it tracks, and if I send an email or do a blog post, it would correlate basically between that activity and actual revenues, like sales revenues for me.
And actual sales revenues. And then we go a little bit deeper. We actually tell you about the customers who are buying. So some interesting things happen. For example, if you try to market to women, a lot of times it's men that end up buying as a direct causal
Tell me about
result.
It. Yeah, I know.
And so, of course, what's happening is women are forwarding the email to their spouses, and they're buying gifts for them, which is great. But if you don't understand that that's what is happening, it's hard to craft email campaigns and promotions and coupon codes that really fit that usage pattern. And so Springbot helps highlight those. It helps show you what's really happening with your store.
Wow, terrific. So if you meet a new Magento or Shopify e-commerce owner, how would you describe why does he need to use Springbot? I mean, obviously any marketing tool out there will tell you you're going to sell more, you're going to do more. Right?
Yeah. The big thing is that they kind of know inherently that hidden in their data are the answers for how to grow. They need a tool that looks across all the different channels, so Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, Google Analytics, their Magento store itself, to try to unearth the things that they should do next. And so Springbot has a very action-oriented mindset. We're not simply trying to tell you pieces of information. We're trying to be prescriptive, and that's where the algorithms come in. We say, hey, we noticed that men on Twitter are buying this product. We actually think you should do an email campaign to men with this product and this promotion. And in that way, we're helping you take that next step, take that next action.
Oh, that's terrific, because that's actually one of the biggest pain points of marketers, right? Because you see all these blog posts and conferences. I'm going to Content Marketing World next week, and I know like half the talks are going to be about what you can do.
Right.
And the problem is today with technology, you can do a lot.
Right.
So the big difference is, well, from what I'm hearing, is that you tell them what they should do.
Right, absolutely. We give them a starting point. And then from there, the algorithms improve themselves over time. So kind of narrow in on what specifically works for your store.
Wow, terrific. So how does somebody actually use the Springbot platform? Is that a complicated thing? Is that...
No, so we wanted to make it dead simple. A lot of the businesses we work with, again, they're very busy. They're passionate about leather notebooks and jeans. They don't want to get into a big development effort to install our software. So both Magento and Shopify have app stores, very much like the Apple iPhone app store. You go in, you click a button, you install the app. Go to springbot.com, sign up for a demo. We'll walk you through about 30 minutes of description of how the product's used. And then we have a coaching team, wonderful coaching team, that walks you through your first few campaigns, gives you milestones to shoot for, and really helps you get the most out of the platform. But no, we try to make it as dead simple as possible to get engaged with Springbot.
Oh, I love that, because a lot of small businesses, one of the biggest issues is they can't afford expensive marketers.
Right.
So you guys kind of solve that problem for them with technology.
Absolutely. That was one of the big mindsets, was let's take what big businesses are doing and bring it to the small to medium-sized market.
Right. So instead of paying somebody $80,000 a year,
Yep.
They can just pay you how much? How much does it cost to?
Yep. So we've got 3 pricing bands based on the size of your store: $199, $399, and $799. So we try to make it very price competitive and very simple. We don't nickel and dime you with a whole bunch of extra things that we charge you for.
Wow, terrific. That's a great deal, I have to say. Because I know I work a lot, I mentor here at ATDC, and I work with a lot of startup entrepreneurs, and whenever they want to do these fancy things, end of the day, they have to pay somebody a lot of money, either in a big hourly fee or just hire a salaried employee.
Right.
And, considering they can get all this intelligence for $200, $400 a month, that's amazing.
Yep, we agree.
Yeah, great job. Fascinating. Thank you so much, Joe.
Absolutely.
Maddie,
Hi, Leor.
how you doing?
Just great.
This is a nice day in Atlanta, I have to say, right?
Oh, absolutely. I concur.
Didn't even have any traffic coming in.
Concur.
So Maddie is the CEO and co-founder of Marketwake. It is a metrics-driven digital marketing agency here in Atlanta. She comes from and has a strong voice in the world of strategic graphic and web design, working with major brands like West Elm, JustFab, and Intel. Over the course of her career, she has led multiple creative and strategic teams working in digital playgrounds across many platforms with an overarching philosophy to make good work. I love that. Work that helps businesses tell their story and moves consumers to actions. She lives and plays in South Atlanta with her talented bartender husband and 1.5-year-old son. I have a half-year-old son, and that's why I don't sleep well.
That's 1 year less than 1.5.
So, Maddie, tell us a little bit about Marketwake first.
Sure. Yeah, we started about 2 years ago now, and really carving out a space in the market. There's a lot of agencies in Atlanta, everywhere. Sure. But our approach really was to focus on the metrics. And my business partner Brooke Beach and I, we have backgrounds in-house, and we've worked with agencies elsewhere, and found a lot that, man, there's a lot of talk, but there are very few numbers. Very few clients of those agencies could truly say, this is what our marketing efforts are doing to our bottom line, this return on investment. And we thought, that's a crime, because we know how to do that. Mm-hmm. So we started Marketwake from there.
Wow, terrific. Mm-hmm. So what is the most common reason your customers come looking for a solution like yours?
Yeah, so our customers usually have a product or service that's tested. So they're market tested, they know what they have, they've been successful, they've seen some traction. But they're figuring out how to get to the next level. What's their next step to really see some impactful growth? They might have heard some, buzzwords about automation or what marketing could do for them, but they're really in an exploratory phase, and they're saying, hey, this sounds like it's for us, but we're not sure how to get there yet.
Wow, terrific. So yeah, as an agency, you're agnostic to the tool, right? So you kind of custom tailor the solution to your clients.
For sure, yeah, we definitely do, and there's a lot of factors that go into that, but we'll start them usually from an automation phase and then start implementation and strategy from there.
Very cool. So yeah, I mean, you said it, there's a lot of buzz around marketing automation, right?
Yes, for sure.
When to do it, how to do it, what are the best tools to do. So, as an agency, as an expert, what do you think are the top 5 things every company should know when they're looking to implement some type of marketing automation?
Yeah, there are a few things to consider, and Joe, you can roll your eyes at me if you want. So a lot of times we talk about goals. So because automation has evolved so quickly over the past few years, you have to consider, what are your goals? Are you in a phase where you have zero visibility and you're trying to build visibility? There are tools that are really, really great at data and giving you insight. There are also some tools that are built in a way that they allow you to take action, like you were saying. And so you have to figure out what stage you're in and what your goals are in achieving automation. Budget.
I completely agree with that. Yeah. I think you have to figure out, in our context, am I trying to optimize conversion rate, add to cart rate? Am I trying to convert top of funnel traffic? And that's a big part of how Springbot customers tweak the algorithms to get the recommendations. But no, I completely agree. You have to know and be purposeful about what you're trying to accomplish.
Right. And I like that you talked about budget, and you guys kind of already hit that, but that's a huge thing. We, at the phase where you're looking at automation and in those growth phases, we don't recommend bootstrapping your automation. We recommend laying a really strong foundation that's going to give you the results and the visibility that you originally intended, for. So I definitely think budget plays a piece into it. Knowing your messaging, you're going to have to fill that automation tool with content that's churning out. So really know your messaging, what your target is responding to, have an idea in place. If not, get someone who does. And then metrics. Different tools are going to give you visibility into different things. So figure out what metrics will really show if you're reaching your goals or not, and then go from there.
Yeah, and I think to that point, I see a lot of ways people look at marketing automation spend and investment for the most part. And what I tell them is, marketing automation is supposed to reduce or remove a lot of repetitive manual tasks that are necessary for something. So you should look at it when you compare it to somebody's salary, not like a web host that's $10 a month, right? That's not the right way to look at the pricing of that work. The second is the sooner you install these systems, the sooner you collect the data. And sometimes you don't know what data is going to be important, right? Maybe you'll find out that visiting this one, random blog post page is generating 50% conversions. But unless you install that pixel, you would never realize that 6 months later. So just doing it early and right with the right systems is very important. I completely agree with that. So you've got an extensive background in design. How does that play into Marketwake's approach to digital marketing and automation specifically?
I kind of alluded to it before, but that's really where we started. That's kind of where the heart is. So especially in B2B, a lot of times you could get away with just having a strategy for the last 2 years. But today, you're speaking to people, whether you're talking to businesses or you're talking to consumers. It's noisy and people are getting a lot of content. So design is huge. People are making decisions within 3 seconds of seeing your email, looking at your website, and they're making they're making assumptions that are driving conversion or not driving conversion. So design is huge, and not pretty design or in modern design necessarily, but strategic design that's intentional and speaks to your audience.
And also consistent, especially if you use like multiple tools.
Absolutely.
Each system has their own templates and stuff they do it. And if you have somebody that's in charge of making sure that your message is consistent across all the channels, that's a pretty big deal.
Right. You don't want two-faced. You want the same thing every single time.
So circling back to this metrics-driven creative idea, what's the most important metrics or benchmarks you use to gauge marketing success?
Tricky.
That's how I roll.
This really does depend on your goals. It's going to range from if you're B2B, if you're B2C, if you're e-commerce, who you are really will drive those metrics. But I would say the most important thing to keep in mind is that, again, keep your goals in mind and determine, your benchmarks or your KPIs on those goals. So, some people, really love open rates. Oh man, open rate was so high. Okay, is it driving conversion? Because click-through rate is actually probably going to be what will show you a better, give you better visibility into actual conversion from an email. So there's different ways that you can finagle it, but we really strive to listen to customers' goals, translate that into KPIs, translate that into benchmarks, and then that's what we track.
Yeah, and that's basically where you start, right? Because a company comes to you, they don't even know what they should track. So you tell them, okay, you need more leads. Let's start there, right? Lead gen.
Or even worse, they come to you and they're like, retargeting is it. This is what we need to drive all things. And we'll say, okay, take a step back. There's usually, a lot of factors, a lot of efforts that go into something that makes a retargeting campaign successful. And then let's
you need traffic before you can retarget it, right? That helps.
Novel idea, Lior.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Maddie.
For sure.
Rachel, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm terrific.
I loved hearing Matt. I think we're going through a really fun services resurgence. We've always had a really thriving agency ecosystem in Atlanta. But I really think that some of the things that Maddie talked about, and I ran services for Silverpot for several years, so I've lived the services side, but of course within a tech company. ME tools have gotten really complex. They really have. And there's some great tools out there like Springbot that are simplifying that for end users to take the burden away. But I think now more than ever, having a very trusted services partner is incredibly important. So.
Yeah, and it looks like the market is kind of creating solutions for different segments now, different customer segments, and kind of being extremely tailor-made.
Yeah. So I get the services side of the business.
I hear you, Rachel.
Intimately.
So tell me a little bit about Watson. Most listeners probably heard of Watson one day in their life, ever since I think Jeopardy was like the first time it became famous.
Yeah.
But what's Watson in 2016?
Sure. So Watson, as a kind of an overall, as a technology platform that essentially takes machine learning and artificial intelligence and drives insights through large amounts of unstructured data. That's essentially what Watson does. And to a lot of people, that's still pretty ethereal. Like, so drill that down for me. And I came to IBM a couple years ago through the Silverpop acquisition, and more recently really wanted to personally dive into Watson. It was something that I just found fascinating myself and wanted to learn more. And in the last year, the Watson team has really been heads down building a whole developer suite to make Watson more accessible for everyday use in business applications. And so they most recently went GA with several really interesting developer services, some of which I think have really some great applications in the MA, in the marketing automation world. Specifically, there's personality insights and tone analyzer, which really takes unstructured contextual data through, I think what Watson has is a very unique natural language processing capability and can really match tone and sentiment, so intention to buy, or predictability to buy, to images or to exchanges that happen between consumers and and sellers. Okay, whether those are marketers or online or even in the offline world. Think audio, think calls, think other things.
So to make it real, let's say, I'm already through another marketing automation system tracking incoming tweets that I want to respond. I can kind of process it with Watson's API.
Correct.
And get some kind of a lead scoring for intent to purchase.
You could, yeah, and you could start to segment those buyers into, what their predisposition might be. And there's some pre-built dispositions in terms of emotional states or intentionalities that come kind of with the APIs. Those are in terms of tone, in terms of what's actually being said. And then there's even more deeper ones where depending on how much structured data could be acquired. On our website, we say something like 3,500 words, but it varies. We could even start putting you into some of the more predominant personality categories, like Big Five and others that are, psychologists would say are more of the predominant psychological categories. So you can start to build some really interesting segmentation.
I think I need it as an app. And every time I talk to my wife, have this just live, live sentiment analysis. What does she really want? Am I in trouble? That's really what I want to know. Am I in trouble?
If you come from the branding world, these are techniques that folks have used more traditionally. Like if you look at archetyped type of personas and things like that, this has been used in the branding world for some time. But being able to take that through an unstructured data in a dynamic way and actually start to tailor the message on demand to those sellers
on the fly. That's a big deal.
That's really where I think Watson's power. We haven't gotten to the what's next part of the conversation yet, but that's really where I think AI could be very powerful. And I think we've spent the last chapter of marketing automation automating activities, like making it more efficient, that we talked about, for people to do things. I think Watson could be very powerful in simplifying the messaging and how we craft our messaging, what we say, which is very different than what we do.
And Watson is a service that companies like Springbot can sign up and kind of add features to their customer. Absolutely. So IBM's been very rampant right now trying to seed a developer ecosystem around Watson, and there's been a couple companies out there in the marketing automation space that have taken to it. So it's really exciting. So I've really shifted, as much as I'm still a big proponent of IBM Marketing Cloud, of course, coming from Silverpop. It's exciting. We're not holding it against you. That's fine.
It's exciting to see Watson start to seed a broader ecosystem of players in the marketing automation space as well.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, I guess a big trend that's happening now is that traditionally marketers, did a stand-up meeting once a week or once a month or once a quarter and looked at all the comments, all the tweets that came in, and try to settle kind of a strategy. And now everything needs to be on the fly, because that's where the conversion opportunity is, right? If you capture the customer when they're in that buying state. I remember somebody talked about an example of, somebody trashing a cable company on Twitter, and a satellite TV company just tweeted him back to try to capture him. So those are interesting use cases that just wouldn't have been available to the public 5 years ago.
That's right.
And now to just commoditize almost.
That's right. There's another offering that Watson has too called Engagement Advisor, and they're having a lot of success in the things you would traditionally think Watson would be good for, like support agents. So being able to answer questions. Watson can be well trained. So when you think about having to call and not talk to a support representative, but you have an issue, you have a question, but think about the customer marketing opportunity. So if that was if the customer was frustrated, or depending on the question that the customer had, could that then trigger a marketing follow-up, right? So those are the types of things that I think would also be interesting for a closed-loop marketing cycle from Engagement Advisor, which is taking off very well in the support realm.
Yeah, we have the website up and looking
There's
at the marketing collateral.
There it is. Ta-da.
Fascinating. So basically, you can hook this up to your ticketing system and then start to get leads from active, tickets that come in.
Correct. That would be another use case. Absolutely. Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, so what do people need to do to use this? Where do they need to go?
Well, this was a great lead, and thanks for showing this website. I would say, check out, if you haven't been, obviously, to the Watson developer site, go check it out. You can download, you can start to play around with it. Go to the Watson developer site. That's probably the best way to get started, would be my advice. And there's pricing available there, too.
And IBM, is you're saying they're supporting startups that want to come in and start using the API and build applications on it.
Absolutely.
Terrific. So let's talk a bit about what's next. Rachel, what do you think is next in marketing automation?
Well, I think we started talking about it, right? We've been talking about personalization for some time. I do think content and content personalization is going to continue to be a major topic, and how that's done, whether it's through advanced machine learning and AI techniques, or through, just more optimized design, principles and things that start to come out, I think is going to continue to be something that is going to be a theme for the next, year, if not.
I completely agree, especially as those technologies become more available for every marketer to use. Right, it becomes simplified.
Correct, and I think we didn't touch on it, but I'm implied in that is going to be more video, more audio, right? So
yeah. Maddie, what do you think?
I think for us, we are subscribers to the marriage of services and technology, the services and software, obviously, as an agency. And I see over the next few years, SaaS had just an incredible evolution, in the recent years. We've seen a lot of growth there, but there's a very specific conversation happening in software. There's a very specific conversation happening in services, and they're kind of desperate right now. They're opposite, or separate, I should say. So we kind of see a really powerful marriage between the two. We all have 100 apps on our phone. We might use half of them. We are subscribed to so many things throughout the month. We might only know we're subscribed to 2. We don't get a lot of value out of our software because we're quick. Our attention span is very, very short. So as a services provider, we really see maximizing technologies like Springbot, like Watson, with that services hand playing.
Yeah.
What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I agree with both of you. It's kind of both parties, both the buyers and the sellers, so the e-commerce store owners and consumers like us who buy things online. They're trying to get closer to the one-to-one relationship. They're trying to get back to that, standing in a store, physically holding a product, mulling it over, talking to the person who made it, and then making a decision based on that. And it's tough to do that through technology, through Twitter, through all these tools, because they have this tendency to pull you a little bit further away from that real human interaction. And so the next stage of evolution of a lot of this marketing is we kind of think of it as art and science. So Springbot brings a lot of the science, which removes the friction between your artistry, your passion as a store owner, and the passion and lifestyle of the consumer, and try to get those to merge. And so you've got tools like content creation on our side as we think about it. We were talking about the services component to SaaS. We certainly see that with a lot of our store owners, where they have an agency that they work with for content creation, for strategic. What we hope to do is fuel that discussion with data-driven insights that guide the content. And so thinking of it in the future, it's almost, here's an outline of an email. We think you should be reaching out to these consumers. We think you should reach them with this promotion. And then bringing in IBM Watson, we think this is the sentimentality that you should use. You should be promotionally aggressive versus being informational and guiding. And if we give an agency, a service provider, or even a store owner something like that, they can enact a strategy that helps them grow better than if they were guessing. And so it's that art and science, bringing the consumer and the e-commerce store owner together better. And I think there are a lot of channels that are starting to get added to that. So it's only getting more and more complex. You've got Snapchat and Vine, and I'm probably already 4 generations of these apps behind. But it's trying to figure out for each of those, how do we get that one-to-one conversation going, but do it in a way that's trackable, attributable, data-driven, so that you're not, we call it a marketing safari. You're not out on a marketing safari kind of taking pictures of all these channels, but ultimately not sure what's working and what's not. And I think that's the next stage of evolution for these.
Wow, I love that imagery, marketing safari. So many trademarks here today, right, Rich? I personally think, it's interesting what you said about art and science, because what I've been saying the past year and a half is that it seems like marketers are becoming developers and developers are becoming marketers. Mm-hmm. Marketers are starting to be able to ask technical questions, right, that they didn't, just because now they're aware of it, the tools enable it, the tools show different reports with stats they didn't know even matter. Right. And I think there are going to be thousands of more tools, to be honest, because marketers are creative types. And now that marketers have this sense of, things can be automated, and how can they be automated, and what kind of metrics we can track, they're going to think of more products and more startups to even rise. I think from a trend perspective, this concept of microservices and kind of just creating this extremely specialized, highly effective products that solve a very specific problem, and then have this very effective layer and services that connect all those together. I think that's a trend. I think where we saw marketing automation companies in the past, similar to like Silverpop, where they came in with this huge offering. We're going to do everything. You're going to do everything with us. I think that is going away. And business owners are starting to use the best solution for the best, the specific problem. Personally, I think segmentation is kind of one of the bigger things that are going to get into the market. I don't think that's really solved yet. I think everybody understands that it's necessary. I think every marketing professional knows the value of it, but from an automation perspective, there are still some gaps there. So I think that's going to be pretty interesting to see in the next year or so.
Yeah, I think it's the gap between segmentation and personas. So there's
exactly.
a lot of segmentation out there, a lot of tools. Springbot has a tool, plug us in, drag and drop. You can build I think we do by default 25 segments right now, and then you can drag and drop and create segments based on what people have purchased, how much they've purchased, whether they're going to churn, all these sorts of factors. But it's tying those to your kind of gut about who's buying. So,
and the message.
Right. That link is still a little bit looser than it needs to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, guys.
All right. So, Lior, let's turn our attention to you.
It's been so much fun, though. Maybe we can just find some people on the street and talk to them a bit.
Yeah. It's time to talk about, as we have some time left on this episode, let's talk about your business and how you spend your day. So talk to us about AW Pro Tools, right? And how does that help folks?
Sure. So like I said, I'm a digital marketer, and I've been in marketing for many, many years. I've done a lot of email marketing as an affiliate marketer many years ago. And AW Pro Tools is an add-on to Aweber. Right now, we're actually expanding the product that allows you to automate your email marketing if you're an Aweber marketer through a variety of very, very cool features. Product has been around since like 2012, so we're pretty substantial in size right now.
Yeah, so talk to us about the scale and the scope of that, the size. What does that look like?
Sure. We just hit recently, we're processing over 60 million email addresses.
Say that again, how many?
60 million.
I thought my inbox was full, yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
Right. That's a lot of spam going through our system now.
So, how is that capable? How is that possible? What does that look like on a ground level perspective?
So when you have, let's say you're a small business marketer, right? You have a health and fitness product.
Say your name is Joe, just
say hypothetically.
Your name is Joe.
Yeah, for example.
Let's use the name Joe, yeah.
You have a health and fitness product, and you're starting to build your email list, and maybe it's 50,000 big, long, maybe it's 150,000 long. The concept is most marketers can't really create a very specific experience for each segment, right? We just talked about that. So giving them the ability to create the different segments based on what actions people take is what we enable. So, a most basic example is this. Let's say you have a health and fitness product. You don't want to get people to fill out a big form where they sign up to your list, right? The more fields you add, the less conversion you're going to have. Yeah. That's just a kind of fact of online life for the most part. So you just want to ask them what their email is. You don't want to ask them how old they are. You don't want to ask them if they're male or female. You don't want to ask them if they're trying to run more or if they're trying to lose weight. Just want their email.
But how's their day going? Is that ever on a field? It should be on a field. Right. What's your day look like today?
That's an interesting, like a smiley face.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, how do you feel? And just like an emoticon click.
Oh, yeah.
That could be
should
nice.
be more emoticon.
See, another trademark. That's just insane. This is a productive show, I have to say.
Yeah. We need to not make this live anymore because I'm sure listeners around the world are like, I got that one. I got that
exactly.
one. Yeah,
we're busy here in the studio and they're just trademarking.
Yeah.
So you're asking for their email and you're starting to send out your content. But it is really important to know if you're talking to men, women, if they bought a product from you in the past, if they got 5 emails from you and then bought something, or maybe they got a report. So the stuff we enable is you can convert the different clicks you have in the email to your landing pages. And based on those clicks and activities on the website also, you can start segmenting and moving people to different lists. So if I send you something and through that activity, I know that you're a man looking to lose weight, I'm going to put you on a list that's very targeted towards that so I can develop a better relationship with you, give you more specific content, and eventually sell more.
Speaking of selling, I noticed on your website there's a 14-day trial.
Yes. So we have the product is so first of all, the product is for people that make money or want to make money with email marketing, and that's a big emphasis because a lot of email marketers don't want to do it. Believe it or not, they don't want to do it. They use their email to announce things,
for content,
like,
whatever.
Yeah, like new features, press releases, updates, what's going on with the software, the product. This is not that. This is for people that actually want to make money with their email marketing. Okay. So our system starts at $30 a month, goes all the way up to $100 a month, depending on how many subscribers you have. Okay. Kind of like Springbot, we don't tie you in. If you don't like us, leave.
So there's no 5-year contract, yeah?
No 5-year contract. And
does anybody do that anymore? Does anybody do contracts?
No, at Springbot we don't have any contract at all.
Yeah,
month to month.
Probably the big B2B marketing guys. I don't know. The $1,000 a month kind of service.
What I've noticed is, I don't know if it's a paradigm shift, just as an observer or end user, is a lot of these subscription services now, or month to month, but you can buy for the entire year at
prepay for a discount. Yeah, we do that also.
What's the science behind that, where you capture those folks and they're locked in for the year?
Yeah, I mean, the thing we like about not having a contract is we have to prove our value month in, month out. Yeah. And coming from a customer discovery mindset, back from Flashpoint, we want that feedback. Right. If there's something wrong with the product, if there's something that we're missing, we want people to raise their hand immediately. We don't want to wait till the end of the contract term to learn that we're missing a key feature. So we definitely enjoy the month to month.
Yeah, and even for us, I mean, we give a 30-day money-back guarantee regardless, Even if you finish your trial, you're starting with the first month and you don't like it, I mean, we don't want people to just pay us money if they don't actually use the system and make money with it.
Right. And then if they're not happy with it and there's no recourse, they're not really probably saying good things online about it, right?
Exactly.
But I'm okay as if I try something and if it doesn't fit, if they're, we'll rebate that, then it just wasn't a good fit, right? We want to make sure each of our folks get a chance to mention how people would get in touch with them. But Leo, on your end, talking about AW Pro Tools, how would they find out?
Sure. Best way is to go to the website, awprotools.com. You can sign up for a free trial like you mentioned. We are going to introduce some pretty cool features very soon, and we're also expanding to other email service providers. The reason is, I'm a developer besides being a marketer, and it's very important to me that before I scale, I know what I'm doing. So that's why we waited. Now, besides the 60 million emails we process, obviously we process hundreds of millions of different marketing events and actions. So we know what we're doing, and we know what customers need. So now that we know what customers need, we're ready to scale, add features, add support for more services. And if you go to awprotools.com, that's the best way to start working with us.
Okay. And all of our guest information will be at marketingautomationtalk.com.
Yep.
You can check that out. So we do want to hear from each guest, if you would. What's a good day look like for you in your business as you go about helping people, and also how folks would reach out to you? So
the best way to reach out to us is to go to springbot.com. Sign up for a demo. We've got e-commerce consultants who would love to walk you through the product, and I guarantee you'll learn something about e-commerce marketing through the process. A good day for us. I think the best days are the ones where we hear our customers using the product. So you hear about their passion, their enthusiasm. They want to try to grow their business. They've got a new product, and they come into Springbot, learn something insightful that they didn't know before, and that helps them on their path. It's very fulfilling, very rewarding. We have an office down at Colony Square, and we designed the whole floor plan around this notion of collaboration, where coaches and sales reps and developers are all kind of centered around the customer experience. And so for us, it's all about the e-commerce stores we work with.
Colony Squares, you got a big makeover happening in the works down there, right?
We do. Actually, today they announced some new renderings of it. But they're taking off the roof. They're opening up the space and kind of reinvigorating.
They're taking off the roof before winter.
I don't know exactly.
It's all about timing. We need to take the roof off the studio, but I don't know how the 7th floor would feel about that.
In April.
They'll give us a heater.
I hope they're giving you another roof.
It's a real open. They have a real. They went beyond the open door policy.
Concept.
That's right.
They really blew the roof off it.
Marketwake. You can reach us at marketwake.com or on Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Marketwake. A good day for us, I would say, is usually the first week of every month where we give progress reports to our clients, and we get lots of rave reviews and excitement around revenue coming in. So that could sound cold and metrics driven, but that's a good relationship and exciting for us. So marketwake.com. If you have any questions, we're actually offering for marketing automation talk listeners as the inaugural episode 10% off. First promotion we've ever done for the first 3 months of engaging with us. So let me know if you're listening, and we're excited to chat.
All right.
And you can find anything all Watson at ibm.com/Watson. Certainly follow us on Twitter too. Watson has a great Twitter channel as well as LinkedIn. We have a bunch of new commercials coming out, which are going to be very interesting. Yes, some new IBM commercials that are going to be soon to be released.
Nice.
And a good day for us too, kind of on the same thing as around customer success. I'll be honest with you, I think for me personally, having run a customer success and services organization, and now being more on some of the leading edge stuff with Watson, is seeing some of our customers that have been with us a long time finally adopting some of these advanced techniques and seeing the ROI. To be honest with you, and I think a lot of us don't talk about this as much, is a lot of customers still, we talk about all these great things, but not all customers are using them. Adoption still is not where I personally think it needs to be. And while I love to be on the total cutting edge, I also really get excited when customers that have been with us a really long time finally come up to me and say, "Oh, Rachel, we finally adopted, automated programs, and oh my gosh, we're getting all this great data, and we're getting these better lift." And just seeing people become more mature marketers and finally making those steps, to me is a really great day.
That's actually a great point. I like to say, not just me, but education without action is entertainment. And for marketers, that's so easy, right? We're storytellers. So, we go to websites, we write blog posts, we do podcasts, we do video. It's very easy to consume content, and really great content. And taking action is a big deal. So I would tell to our listeners, if you're a marketer listening to this, if you're a small business owner listening to this, go take action. I mean, you heard some of the basics here, right? We want to establish, like Maddie said, we want to establish some kind of a KPI to start with, right? What are we tracking? Why are we tracking it? And then we want to find a tool. Maybe if you have an e-commerce store, sign up with Springbot. Start getting some data. Start getting a feel of how this world of automation can increase your business and make it better. And if you're a savvy marketer, or if you're a startup that's building a new product, use stuff like Watson that's now publicly available. 8 years ago, if you want to work with Watson, good luck. You had no way to do it. It was really just reserved for people that had those relationships and those connections. And now everything is out there. Everybody wants to work with everybody. Everybody can work with everybody. And taking action is a big deal. So thank you very much, guys. We're actually on time, which is amazing. Like we said, you can find everybody's contact details and the websites on marketingautomationtalk.com, where we're gonna also have the recording of the show, and where you're gonna find all the other shows that we're gonna record soon.
So Lior, inaugural show. Your thoughts, takeaways? I think you had great content, subject matter experts, obviously. And I like the last comment about adoption, right? Because I think I get excited just as an end user. I'll get all these widgets loaded on my apps, whatever, right? And I fill up my phone. I feel like I've done something. But when you start using it and implementing it, that's really the end game, right?
Yeah, I think that was the whole point. It's one thing going to a landing page and reading about what a startup does, and then hearing the CTO talk about it. the guy that invented the thing talk about it.
Right.
It's just there's only so much you can learn by reading a page, right?
Yeah.
We as marketers, we have to say we're creating our own segments, right? We're saying, okay, this is what we think are going to be the top 3 value propositions that we need to talk about on the page, and we can talk about all the different variations and how this specific service is going to be best for you. And this was a big objective of the show, so people and listeners can hear more about it. And then go and try, so they have a better idea of why it's going to help their business and how.
All right, well said. So I think that wraps up the first episode, the inaugural episode of Marketing Automation today.
Yeah.
Talk.
Thank you so much, guys.
Absolutely. We'll see you next time. And with that, as we mentioned, we're at the end of our first episode of Marketing Automation Talk, but the show doesn't end here. If you're still looking to improve your marketing strategy and automate your business, you can visit marketingautomationtalk.com to listen to more episodes. You can also visit the show sponsor at awprotools.com.